Hey everyone, Travis Robertson, CEO and founder of Robertson Coaching International, where we help people just like you create businesses that support your life, not businesses that run your life. And today is our second part in a three-part series on motivation, and specifically, how do we generate our own motivation so that we're not walking around going, geez, I'm just not feeling motivated today? How do we, from inside of ourselves, create a level of motivation that spurs us on to action, ultimately allows us to get what it is that we're trying to achieve and have more fun doing it? So in our first episode, what we talked about, or in our last episode, what we discussed is how do we ignite or spark motivation from inside rather than waiting for something outside of us to spark that motivation. And so we talked about the two different factors, ambition and ultimately expectancy or belief that you're going to achieve whatever big goals or big dreams you set for yourself. And you've got to have a level of ambition, something that's going to excite you and get you going. And then you've also got to believe that you can achieve whatever that ambition level is. So in this episode, what we're going to be talking about is how you sustain the motivation, because once you've got it ignited, once you've got it sparked, now you've got to go through the process of learning how to sustain the motivation throughout the journey, because that's where most people fail. You know, it's one thing to get excited about something and have that initial motivation or that initial spark, but how do we keep it going once we start getting into the nitty-gritty, the details, the day-to-day work that's supposed to move us to where we want to go? And so that really comes down to two different things. Number one is focus, and number two is effort. We've got to have focus on those things that we need to be focused on, and we've got to put the effort in. And this is where most people fail. This is where most people struggle, because what is the enemy of focus? Distraction. And think about it this way. How distracted are you on a daily basis? Think about all the things that distract you from what it is that you know deep down inside you should be doing at any given point in time, and yet we get distracted by a shiny object over here, distracted by a shiny object over there. And sometimes these things masquerade as good activities, and sometimes they don't. I mean, sometimes distractions are really easy to spot. Think about social media, right? Social media is an obvious distraction for a lot of people, but it can be easy to justify and go, well, I've got to be on social media because that's where my potential clients are. That's where my potential business is. So I need to be on there networking. And while that may be accurate, we oftentimes use these things to prevent us or keep us from doing the more important activities, the more important things that we need to be focused on. Maybe it's television. For others, it's maybe alcohol and drinking in the evenings. And look, I've heard all different things, but it's anything that's going to prevent you from ultimately achieving what you want to achieve. And it was really interesting. I think it was Harvard that released a study not too long ago, and here's what they found. In the workplace, in the US workplace, over just the last 4 years, our level of distraction has doubled every single year, year over year, meaning that each year over the last 4 years, it's gotten twice as hard to focus in the workplace. Next year, it's expected to double or triple again, meaning that if this year you had trouble focusing and not being distracted, guess what? It's only going to get 2 or 3 times as challenging next year. So what does that mean? How do we fight the distraction? What we have to realize is that we can't manage distraction. Too many people try and manage their distraction, right? They go, well, if TV's distracting me, instead of shutting off the cable, what I'll do is I'll just not watch TV during the week. And then on the weekends, I'll watch TV. But the problem is that's trying to manage the distraction rather than attack the distraction. And the truly successful people, the truly motivated people attack distraction. They realize that there is no room for error, no room for screwing up. This is something that's going to get in my way. I need to attack this particular distraction. So rather than try and not watch TV, instead what they're going to do is they're going to say, I'm going to shut off my cable, and here's what I'm going to replace that time with. Instead of watching TV, I'm going to focus on reading or educating myself or learning a new skill or new habit that I need to develop to get to that next level in my business or in my life, or in my personal life. Whatever it is, they understand that they've got to not just manage it, but attack it. So let me ask you, what are the things at work? What are the things that are happening when you're at work that are getting in the way of you doing the prospecting that you need to do, of making the calls that you need to do? And again, sometimes these can be masquerading as good things. Well, I had to respond to the emails from my clients, and I had to field that call because my client called me and it could have been an emergency, so I had to take the call, rather than realizing that, wait a minute, that's a distraction from what I need to be doing right now to generate new business and move me forward towards that large ambition that I have for my business and for my life. And then once you've got the focus, now you can focus on the effort. See, the sustaining or the momentum is going to come when we make effort towards the ambition that we have. Most people don't make the effort. They set the goal, they set the dream, they get excited about it, but when we don't make effort because we're not focused on what we need to be doing and we're not moving ourselves forward towards that outcome or towards that goal, we start to lose the motivation. Maybe you've been there, maybe you've said it, or maybe you know somebody that said it, it's just, I lost my motivation. What they really mean is that I stopped working towards the ambition that I had for my life. I stopped moving forward. And when we have a goal of, let's say, an income target for our business, and we say, next year I want to make $250,000. Well, at the beginning of the year, that $250,000 seems very reasonable because we set that goal and we're like, man, I can do it. But if we waste our time in January and then waste our time in February, and then all of a sudden in March we start feeling guilty because we haven't started to close that gap between where we are and our goal of $250,000, well, now that goal seems even more challenging or more complicated than it was at the beginning of the year, because now we have less time to ultimately achieve it, and that goal now becomes a demotivating factor for us. So what we need to realize is that that effort, day in and day out, showing up, even if it's just a little bit some days. Look, not every day can you make Herculean efforts, but sometimes you just gotta get on the journey and say, you know what, even if I only move my business forward or move this part of my life forward just a small bit, that little bit of effort's gonna close the gap in that momentum that I'm gonna start to build as I see the results and I see the success that I'm starting to have as I move along this path and this journey. It's going to only motivate us more, get us excited more, and allow us to sustain the motivation. So that's what we need to do. So in the last video, we talked about igniting it. Now we understand that we sustain it through our attention or our focus on those activities that are going to move us forward. We attack the distraction and we put the effort in and day out. Every little day, or every day, putting in just a little bit of effort that's going to push you towards the outcome that you're shooting for, and that's only going to build that momentum, build that excitement, build that motivation. Now in the next video, what we're going to be covering is how you then accelerate it. So you've got that momentum going. What are the two factors that allow you to really kick that motivation into gear? And there's two things that most people never take time to learn how to control. And if you don't control these two things, you'll never achieve the big ambitious goals that you set for your business and for your life. And I want to show you how you can control these two factors and really light your business and your life on fire. So that's where we're headed next. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a comment below. Let me know what about it is something that, that kind of resonated with you. Make sure you share it, like us on Facebook, like this on YouTube. Just kind of get the word out there because you never know who needs to hear this message right now. I look forward to serving you in the next video. In the meantime, have a wonderful week, you guys. Take care.